Good morning, everyone. There's the famous sculpture from Michelangelo which depicts Moses with horns on his head. And there's where the famous anti-Semitic myth of Jews having horns comes from. But how did Michelangelo make such a mistake? And the answer is because in Hebrew the word keren means horn, but the word karan with different vowels, the same three letters, means radiance, light. And it says when Moses came down with the tablets, his face was radiating with light. And there's a beautiful medrash that says, where did that light come from? And the medrash says that in the opening word of this week's Torah portion, God called Moses. Moses had humility, and he didn't want to write that God called him. So the last letter of "and God called," Vayikra, he wrote with a small aleph. And when he took the leftover ink of the aleph by writing it small, he had remaining extra ink. He took the extra ink and he put it on his forehead. And that's where the light of his face was radiating from that ink that was remaining from the letter aleph. And what this beautiful midrash is teaching us is that our inner light comes from our Torah study. Every one of us, when we learn Torah, we receive the infinite light of God imbued within us, which causes our own lives to be more radiant, more luminescent, with goodness and righteousness and love and kindness. And that is why the most sacred task and responsibility of parents has always been to teach their children Torah from the earliest age. Someone once said, an inheritance is what you leave to your children. A legacy is what you leave inside your children. Our legacy is our heritage, and that is through the teaching of Torah. And as we approach Passover, that is the seminal moment on the Jewish calendar when we educate our children around the Passover Seder, about their Jewish identity and their origins and their heritage and their traditions, and who we are as a people and what are our values and our beliefs and our principles. But it's not just on the night of Passover. As the Shema says, you should teach your children Torah when you sit in the house, when you go on the road, when you lie down, when you awake. Not just the Passover meal, but every meal of the year. And every conversation and every journey should be imbued with the study and the teaching of Torah. In the early 19th century, there was a great rabbi. His name was the Ridvaz. He lived in Tzvat. And he told a beautiful story about his parents. He said when he was a child, his parents hired a teacher to teach him and some other children. And there was a monthly salary for the teacher. And each parent paid a certain portion. And the Ridvaz says one day the father gets a note from the teacher. And the teacher says, you haven't paid for the past 3 months. And if you don't pay up, I'm going to have to dismiss your child from the class because I need to get paid. And he remembers his father read the note, and he and his mother were so sad because they wanted their child to continue studying Torah. That night, his father went to the synagogue. It was in the winter. And he overheard a particular Jew, who is a wealthy Jew in the synagogue, saying that he's building a home, but he can't seem to find bricks for his chimney. As soon as his father heard that, he went home, and he and his mother began to dismantle the chimney in their home, brick by brick. And he immediately brought it to the rich man, sold the bricks of his chimney to the rich man, and took the money and went and paid up the debt to the teacher so his son could continue studying Torah. The Ridvaz became a great renowned rabbi, but he would always tell that story and say, I remember the cold winter in our home, and how we were cold a whole winter, and the sacrifice my family made and my parents made just that I could keep on studying Torah. And he said, even though it was a cold winter, the inner warmth that my parents imbued in me through the study of Torah, even now, 50 years after my father passed away, he said, still keeps me warm, the warmth and the flame of Torah knowledge and love for Hashem and Yiddishkeit. The greatest warmth we can give our children is the inner warmth, the warmth that comes from study of Torah, like the small aleph, imbuing the words of the Torah in our children, which will cause their lives, their faces, to be filled with light and radiance and joy. Have a wonderful day.